much on my mind all the time. I need peace. I need.
Hey everybody, I'm Monty, and Channel 5 is reporting that Finland is reportedly the happiest country on Earth.
Did you know that Heinz ketchup and ketchup in general used to be marketed as a medicine, as a cure for indigestion?
Oh, nice, nice,
Yes.
nice. All right, all right. There we go, guys. Fun facts we always have to give you as well. We're starting off the show again, man. Another episode coming with you, another great topic, and I have a great guest with me. One of our favorites coming back again. The eye in the sky, the guy that knows a little bit of everything about everything. Shinobi is back. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Glad to be here on another episode.
So when I asked him to come on, I had no idea where he was or what he had been doing. We're going to get to that in a minute, but it's a perfect time to have him in. So I wanted to talk about this topic. I feel like everyone can relate to this. We're all dealing with it. We all, you know, there's the great story, of course, how back in the day, we rented videos and we used to go to the video store and you go and you pick a video out. And the only thing that you hated was you had to return the video back at a certain time or you get late fees. And a little
Right.
company popped up called Netflix and they said, well, you can rent whatever you want and then send it back whenever you want. And once you send it back, we'll send you another movie, which was ingenious because I remember reading a story about how people actually did not mind going to the video store. They just hated returning the videos. So Netflix said, well, we'll just take out the part that you hate. And so they came along. Of course, the famous twist of this is that Blockbuster at some point had an opportunity to buy Netflix. They passed on it, and the rest is history, as you know. So we wanted to talk today about what is the state of streaming. Now, we've got at this point in 2024, late 2024, we've got a bevy of options. You've got Netflix, there's Amazon, there's Max, there's Hulu, there's MGM Plus, there's Paramount Plus, there's Disney Plus, there's probably a couple other ones I'm missing.
Don't forget Tubi. Don't forget Tubi now.
Tubi, shout out Big Tube in the house. Big Tube in the house. I think I was in a Tubi movie last week. I didn't even know. I just saw it is like what it is. And there's a bevy of it. We have, of course, just like technology is now, we have everything at our fingertips. You don't have to wait. You don't have to get to a TV at 7:30 p.m. They've got sports now on there, and we're going to get to that as well. But Shinobi, when I hit him up with this, he actually dropped the bomb on me of where he'd been. So I'm going to take it to you. Sir, can you let us know where you've been and what you've been doing in the last few days?
All right. Well, I've been busy. Been here and there. I just got back from my globe trot and the greater area of California. I just got done participating in an event called the Lightbox Expo, which is a probably the biggest animation and media convention. Takes place everywhere around October. There are people from Netflix, people from a lot of any streaming service that has like television, animation, stuff like that. They were there. They had showrunners, they had writers, they had producers, people who run studios, all walking about doing like TED Talks, doing meetups, however big your cachet is. And that's where I was at. And one thing led to another, and I got invited to have lunch at one of these little places called Netflix Studio HQ, which is where I got that. I sent you that picture from. So that was a pretty good cherry on top of that whole situation. I had
You
to
were
make
in
sure
the
that
building.
I was in the building. I had a place so cool.
Yeah.
I was in the building. God is good. It was a great experience. What's funny, it's like it was the one place when I pulled up, I'm expecting like a giant N in neon red. It's pretty low key in the
Yeah.
sense that like you shouldn't know where it is unless you're supposed to be there. So I was
Mm,
like standing
mm.
outside when I got dropped off. Like, am I in the call by contact? Like, am I in the right place? This is like next to a car dealership, next to and then I'm like,
Wow.
okay, here it is, because you gotta give a drop of blood just to enter in the building. So yeah, I've been around. LA's an interesting place for sure. So it's been eventful. So I've got some insights here
Got
and
some
there.
insights. Yes.
Got a little bit.
So what you guys have to understand then is this. Let's talk again. We're going to move. So we talked about how Netflix started. What Netflix did. Netflix, of course, is its own entity. It is a company. Now they're not tied to anything. When I say they're not tied to anything, because when you have like Paramount Plus, so Paramount, they're gonna put all Paramount movies they've ever shot on their streaming service, you know.
Right.
But someone like Netflix, you know, before they started doing original content of their own, they used to have to just they paid for movies from other places and you would watch Netflix. But now, of course, everybody's trying to do their own thing. Netflix does produce. Now they do their own movies and they do their own shows. And so what seemed kind of like an easy thing, well, yeah, just start up a streamer is now becoming a very expensive endeavor
Oh
for
yeah.
a lot of these places. Now you've got your big giants like Netflix and Amazon. And the reason why Amazon is so big, again, a couple years back, it wasn't like Amazon had its own movies and stuff years back, but it's Amazon. So they got money to burn so they can take chances. And now, of course, they do their own content as well. But the point is, I'm basing this. I read an amazing article in the New York Times. What they're finding is the consumer wants so much and so much quickly
Oh
that
yeah.
now they're producing shows and movies at such a rapid pace that the money it costs to produce these shows is outpacing the number of subscribers they have paying for the shows.
Oh yeah.
And that's becoming a problem for some streamers. So Shinobi, I see you shaking your head. Give me your thoughts just on where some of these guys are in the big leagues of trying to even hang in the game.
So it's very turbulent. Like I remember the last time we talked about this, I want to say a few months back, close to a year back, the state of it back then, back when negotiations were going on with the strikes and the Writers Guild and all that stuff. It was in a different state even back then to where it is right now. But to your point, it is very expensive to put any of these type of projects out on a streaming service. Netflix is kind of the king of it all, kind of started it all. But as you mentioned before, every IP that has an IP is trying to get in the streaming game even now. The interesting thing about it all is that streamers make essentially no money. There's no money in streaming. And
Yeah.
like you may hear that and like, but it's honestly true. There is no money in streaming in the same sense that like, you know, you grew up in the 80s, like there Transformers, G.I. Joe, these things did not exist unless there was a toy to come out with it, and that's where the money was made.
Yes.
So even with Blockbuster, you mentioned before, there's a physical product linked to that, which is like DVD sales, DVD distribution. I mean VHS if you want to get old school, right? They were licensing and I mean straight up selling. You could buy a DVD from Blockbuster if you really like
Yep.
rock
Yep.
with that movie enough. So even from that, the business model made sense. It was just obviously on the rental side. So when you get to like streaming and like we're in this like futuristic state here of like there's no physical entity attached to it unless like you know your House of Cards or you're any of these major like you've made a ginormous hit of a TV show where now you can start selling things on like Blu-ray that people will actually buy just because they love I don't know Breaking Bad or House
Yeah. Well,
Game of
hey, wait
Thrones
a
or
minute.
whatever.
Let me say something real quick because
Yeah.
here's the thing, real quick. Back in the 80s, when Transformers the movie came out, this was like we were so excited because everybody had Transformers and the show was on. Now we're kids, we don't know how business works. If you watch Transformers the movie, the big hero is Megatron, you know, and or I'm sorry, Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime.
You know.
Yeah.
So Optimus Prime, the first 15 minutes of the movie gets killed. And we're like, I remember in the movie being stunned, like, wait, what? And they replace him with this other guy, and we didn't understand. We're like, I remember just like totally being in disbelief because all through the TV shows and all that, it was Megatron, Megatron. But what we didn't understand, and I didn't find this out to just a few years later, like you said, it was about the toys. It wasn't
Oh
about the
yeah.
show. The sales of the toys is why we had a TV show and why we got a movie. And so I think it was Hasbro or Mattel, whoever owned it, they were trying to introduce a new toy.
Yep.
So that's why they killed off Megatron or Optimus Prime and they brought the new
Mhm.
leader in. I can't remember his name now. to push the toy sales, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is what," and so the sales went up. So when you
Oh
said
yeah.
that, that's very key to understand because when we say when they're losing money because they don't have toys, Paramount doesn't
Oh
sell toys
yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, so go ahead.
And what's okay, and before we get back to the regular point, to add on to that, the IPs that have sticked around even now, so Transformers is like still in because people still buy toys. The funny thing is, those kids of the 80s are now collectors in 2024.
And say real
Um,
quick, define what IP for some people that might not know. What is IP?
IP is just its acronym stands for intellectual property. So anything that is you created,
Mhm.
a character, a franchise. So Mickey Mouse is an IP.
Yep.
Disney is an IP. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is an IP. Transformers, anything that was made by humans and
Mhm.
was patented and is kind of a creative entity of itself. So, Marvel is an IP, but Spider-Man's an IP. So it's kind of an intellectual property, an idea I have that is
Yeah.
also like an entity that can be sold in any sort of
Now,
aspect like that.
and to understand something really quick, folks. So Spider-Man is an IP, but that does not mean Spider-Man 3 or 4 are new IP. It's just more
No,
movies
that's
from the same
of the same brand.
of the same brand. So it's, they can make more movies. And that's why a quest for original IP is important because people want to be able. So, okay, for instance, we were getting bogged down in a lot of superhero movies because that's
Yeah,
what people
yeah.
wanted. And Marvel gave us a ton of them. But then you have something like A Quiet Place that comes out. So A Quiet Place was great because it was a great movie, but it was a totally brand new idea. And
Oh yeah.
John Krasinski, if you guys remember The Office, Jim from The Office, he was in, his wife was in it, he directed all that.
Oh yeah.
And people were so excited just for, some new IP. And of course, now we've got what, three,
They're
we're on
on
the
their
third
they're on their
movie.
third they're on their third one now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now they want to keep, but it is hard to get, that's why you see movies getting remade a lot because it's just hard to sometimes come up with IP that'll catch. That's why it's so important when you do have your intellectual IP. So go ahead.
Oh yeah. And like, tangent on a tangent. Horror IPs are like kind of before even like the Marvel boom, like
Yeah.
horror IPs were kind of carrying the whole thing. I mean, there's like Jason in space. Like, how did we get here? It's because because
Right.
horror has notoriously been known to be inexpensive to make
Yep.
and has produced some of the most iconic characters in popular media. Like,
Yep.
Halloween was yesterday at the time of recording.
Yep.
Um, People still wearing Jason mask and Chucky mask and then Chucky's got a TV show because these are iconic characters, but the horror itself, that's why you even get Paranormal 25 in space, because like these movies are incredibly inexpensive to make. That's an IP. 2 points back, I was gonna say, still on the topic of IPs, if you notice right now that like Transformers is still in, but all of those things that were toys, they're still making content because those IPs have stood the test of time and
Yep.
are still linked to making money. The Barbie, they've been making Barbie cartoons since the 90s.
Yep.
Barbie the movie. They make a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle animation movie every 10 years or so
Yep.
because it sells new toys and they have different iterations. You can go back. Oh, I like this era. I like the 90s era. I like the Michael Bay film that nobody watched. I like the Rise of the Ninja Turtle, like that, the one that more anime influence. But it's all under the same TMT IP. Transformers, G.I. Joe is gonna get rebooted again. Those keep getting remade for a new audience because that's a new level of consumers. So they have bank. They can still reboot and remake those. So
Yeah.
it's whenever
Because
they
it
make a
hits.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
whenever
that's
they take a risk, is when
that's
it gets
crazy you
dicey.
said that because I just saw okay, a friend of ours, if not everybody knows us, but a friend of ours, Takendra, she was a big fan. She used to always try to get me to watch this show with Reba McEntire. I think it was called Reba. Reba
Okay.
McEntire is a country singer that started in 1975.
Oh,
She's a
okay.
great big singer. She's got red hair, short little lady. She had a sitcom at some point, and Takendra was always trying to get me to rewatch it. I'm like, I'm never watching that. Do you know there's a new Reba show that is coming
Yes,
out? Did you
I
see
saw the
that?
commercial.
Because
Okay.
because we talk about the loyalty. Country Western fans are notoriously loyal. Like they will
That's right.
ride with
Yeah.
you to the end, till you are in the grave, and even after. And she's still, and I was like, that's amazing because she still got her fan base. She still got people, and they're going to try to introduce her to maybe a little bit, not the maybe 19, 20-year-old generation, but there's probably 30 and 40-year-olds because I know I'm there and I didn't watch the first one, but they're trying to appeal and just, it's basically the same show. She's just in a different setting. And
different setting, yeah.
yeah, it's just amazing how they still. So we wrap all that. So we'll get to back again to the streamers. So again, we say all that to say streamers are racing for content.
Oh yeah.
It's about anything you want to do. If you're a director, here's some money, make it out. Because again, they want the content. Because the problem is, or a good thing, a problem is, back in the day when it was just on TV, you would get 22 episodes. They'd usually run the first 11 episodes, take a break for Christmas or whatever, all that, run the next 11 episodes. And that was your full season. You could stretch that out for 20 weeks, 21 weeks of a full. But now, first thing Netflix did was like, hey, here's all 10 episodes. And we got what was called binge watching.
The binge watch model.
Yeah, it's great because binge watching means you get a bunch of eyes. But the problem is you only get them for so long. So a great show, I know you could say the same thing, man. I've run through a great show in a weekend, 10 episodes, like bam. But then afterward, it's just kind of like, okay, now what? It's just kind
You're
of
back. You're back on the prowl, on the endless scroll of
right.
the homepage.
And so this is why these companies want more content, but why they're losing money. And I'll read you some quick statistics. Just from last year, Paramount, who is trying to be sold right now, last year, Paramount, they reported 1.6 billion losses. So $1.6 billion in losses last year. Comcast, 2.7 billion on Peacock they lost. Disney lost 2.6 billion on Disney Plus, which was bundled with Hulu and ESPN. So again, that's billions, y'all. They're not, this ain't millions. They wouldn't think about it if it's millions. That's a lot of money to be losing on these streamers. So now that's why they're trying to make some changes. And I want to ask you what you feel about this because this drives me insane. I hate ads on streamers. The reason why I am paying you my $13.99, good sir,
a month,
good ma'am, is for no ads. And when I see ads on streamers, I get crazy. Sir, your thoughts when you see those little checks in the timeline. Yeah, and it's like, oh my God, really? What are your thoughts on that?
It's an immediate no. It's an immediate no. It's an immediate no. I remember the day that Amazon was like, "Hey guys, so we're gonna be bumping the prices a good like $2.20, or you can keep it and we'll put ads on that bad boy." So I immediately I said I did not hesitate. Because if I gotta watch Invincible with ads on it, I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah, but apparently that's like they really. I feel some type of way about it very strongly. It's because like it's one of those things they could have always done this, but the fact that they're doing this now, it's so questionable, and it feels like once like the big streamers started playing around with the idea, not everybody once. It's got ads now. Everything has ads now because again, they're trying to find a new way to make money, which is crazy. It's one of those things where it's like they made a problem that didn't exist before because we were watching these shows. No ads all the way through, uninterrupted. Great, I'm a satisfied customer. Now they roll out these new plans for your Netflixes, your Hulu, your whatever, and you got the $9.99 plan. Simple plan. You will get ads though, but you get the access to the whole catalog. And it's like $13.99 for no ads or limited ads. But then you can pay $19.99 for 0 ads, 4K resolution,
Right, 4K.
access to early content that no one else gets before on the same platform.
Right.
It's really bad. I don't like. And the funny thing is, nobody really likes it. People working at these companies also don't like it because the people who work at these companies are the ones getting blamed for this when this is like this is on the tippity top of the executive level that are trying to make more and more money. I would say this kind of started when post Disney's acquisition of Fox and 21st Century Entertainment, Warner Brothers was trying to get in the game as well because they were also trying to Also, they got a new CEO. They got David Zaslav as their new like CEO of like the Warner Brothers Entertainment. Very controversial figure in like the entertainment world because he's responsible for axing a lot of franchises really that were not making money. I don't know if you remember, there was a Batgirl movie that was supposed to come out last year. We were all very excited for it. It got axed as a tax write-off. There was a Looney Tunes cartoon got axed as a tax. So many things got written off as a means to liquidate and save money. But he was responsible for like I think they acquired the Discovery Channel, a bunch of other like things.
Yeah, they
and
did.
Then,
Discovery.
And then they remodeled their Max. So Max is Warner Brothers streaming service. Mm-hmm. They were big because they had like all the classic movie catalogs that Netflix. Remember, Netflix is a licensing distribution tech company before it is a streaming service or anything else. Warner Brothers is a movie studio that opened up a streaming service. So they had access to The Matrix, Harry Potter, The Godfather. They had access to these like legendary. They owned Turner Classic Movies. You could watch all these old movies for the same. It was like $14.99, which is a little pricey, but all the stuff that came on there. I don't know what the cable network was, but where you could watch the big streamers, the Game of Thrones or whatever, the big multi on the same network. So that that was one of the first ones to get remodeled with this $9.99 with ads. And then it was, whatever. Also taking away certain things that they didn't deem were profitable for this new plan. So once that happened, Netflix, I remember, started rolling that out. Disney's the same, et cetera, because they're all trying to make money. This whole ads thing, it's nothing besides we're trying to figure out new avenues to make money since we're not selling physical products except for our like highest like rated content that has got a fan base of its own. And that's why those are also getting rebooted like back to back.
Yeah, because they need and so the thing is, to give you guys some more context, there's a magic kind of subscriber number that they say. Now, a lot of times these streamers are not, it's not like it used to be with TV. TV used to have Nielsen ratings, so you can see that, 30 million people watch, Family Ties or the Brady Bunch or the Cosby Show, whatever. But now these streamers are very close to the best with what is big or what they're making and things like that and subscribers. But Netflix kind of opened up the books a little bit, and that kind of put some pressure on some other ones. Now they say the magic subscriber number is it used to be 100 million subscribers, but now they feel like for you to really be able to be profitable and make the content you want to make and try to keep the advertising things down, they're saying 200 million. And it's speculated, according to this New York Times article, that maybe that Netflix is definitely there, Amazon is there, and everybody else is floundering, which means that's why you see, this is what you see more ads, for different places, even though I do see it on Amazon too, but you see more ads and things because, again, what they first want is to try to make enough content to keep people from leaving, because I can't remember the term, but back in the day when we just had TV, people didn't really like unsubscribe to cable. They would just keep cable. Now you can unsubscribe. And I think the rate of unsubscription for cable might have been 1 to 1.5%. Now with streamers, it can be up to 7 to 8%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when we're talking millions of people, 7 or 8% chunk out of your revenue is huge for them.
Humongous.
So they're trying to avoid that. Right.
100%.
And so another part of this, again, the great thing of Netflix is they've got something for everybody. Netflix, they got, if you're a 14-year-old girl and you want to see like a, Bridgerton or something like that, if you want an action movie for the guys, you want to cook, and they got reality shows now, which is good. But when we talk about advertisers want to have a big viewership in one thing. And that segues me to my other thing, which is live sports. Till the end of time, I just don't see nothing different. Live sports is going to be one of the few things that is a must-see in the moment watch thing. I can watch, House of Cards anytime. I don't care when nobody watches it. I'll watch it when I want to watch it. But that FOMO, that fear of missing out, ESPN showing the highlights already. You want to watch the game. So that's why sports is still such a big deal.
Oh,
And
for
the
sure.
rights, for sports are big because when these sports deals right now, everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie. Like, I want to show some NFL games or I want to show some NBA or baseball because that's a concentrated thing. And to date, the biggest streaming event was the Miami Dolphins played the Kansas City Chiefs in a playoff game. And I think they got 35 million views or something on Amazon. To date, that was the biggest thing. And so everybody's like, okay, if we weren't, even Netflix, who has barely been adverse to it, has gotten out of sports, but they're trying to get large numbers of people to watch. And what they're first trying to do is build subscribers. So look, if you didn't watch this, now at least we got some sports. Hulu was big on that earlier, live sports.
Yeah.
Check this out because they're trying to again raise it. So where do you think that's going to go combined with trying to hit this magic $200 million, 200 million subscriber number? Are sports going to help or do you see something else that they need as well?
That's a great point. I would say 100% sports is probably like their ace in the hole for these streaming services. I would say one thing Netflix does that's really funny is they have made up, I won't say they made up events, but they will make or self market certain sporting events for the streaming platform and then put it on like the Logan Paul fight, whoever one of the Pauls is supposed to be fighting Mike Tyson. That's supposed to be
Okay,
streaming
yeah.
on Netflix. And the longer that doesn't happen, the more people are going to stay subscribed to Netflix till it happens. And
Yeah.
I don't doubt that's going to stop. I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix made their own like WWE competitor. Like
Well,
and then you know what I'm saying? And then stream those live on Netflix live. That's
well,
like,
no, they actually are with WWE.
oh,
2025.
okay.
You already see,
See, all right,
that's
there you go.
another untapped thing that Netflix was smart enough to jump on. Come 2025, WWE Raw will be the new home with Netflix, which
Oh,
is
that's very
huge
smart. That's
because
very smart.
again, I talked to you about country western fans, wrestling fans,
Wrestling fans are huge.
huge, very loyal.
Bananas.
You can talk to a wrestling fan today, they'll probably tell you, oh, I hate the product, but they still gonna watch. Wrestling fans are very loyal, which is brilliant. I think the UFC is gonna have some as well because
Okay.
again, they're trying their best to keep and then add, like you said, the Logan Paul thing, the further out you stretch that, the more they hope that those subscribers will stay, and then they'll find something they like.
Right.
And keep on staying. Like Netflix just there's a show that I watch called The Diplomat, and season 2 just came out.
Uh,
It is perfect because I was really getting a little bored. I was like, man, it ain't really nothing Netflix ain't got. Then I was like, oh, I'm back. Okay,
I'm
cool.
back. You're back in.
And just that tether is so important.
Oh yeah.
Now, I want to ask you one other thing. Now so we named a bunch of them. Now there's one I did not name that, you might not understand or know, but Sony. Now, Sony said, you can have it. Take all the streaming. We want no parts of it. And everybody, I remember thinking at the time, like, why wouldn't Sony get into the streaming thing? But Sony is just like, we'll just sell you guys our movies and you can fight over subscribers and again, Sony has been in Sony Pictures for a while, but Sony, of course, is a huge tech company. That's the beauty of some of these companies that they have. Apple TV is not that big in streaming, but Apple's got money to burn.
Right.
Sony's got plenty of money. We're still buying Sony products. So
Right.
I actually now at first I criticize them for it, but it's kind of smart if you're one of the few that aren't in the game and you're just selling. You want Spider-Man? Okay, you guys want to go out here? Take it, pay us
Right.
the money for it, and you gotta just. What do you think of that strategy of just letting everybody else fight over it and Sony kind of just sitting back and selling their movies?
I think they'll definitely come out on top with that because I would say if you were trying to start a streaming service now, you have to have such a really good reason as to why.
Yeah,
And they took this long. I don't think they really need to. They have
don't either.
very strong IPs that they have that people are watching right now in theaters. So that's the other thing. They've got theater numbers that back up and justify their products. I don't think it's ever been a problem overall. Like the next Spider-Man thing, they're gonna be seated. They just made Venom 5, right? That's I think it's like the third one actually. That's a Sony product. That's gonna make numbers. People are gonna watch that.
Yep.
They have so they're still making money in the quote unquote old ways. And now that there are so many streamers that want access to what they've got, yeah, that's a great way to be the middleman and
Yep.
come out on top. I commend them for it really, because I think it would be too much. And like again, I feel like they're making more money licensing. If you go on Netflix right now, Spider-Verse 2, it's still up there. There's like several movies that are some of their highest grossing Oscar award winning stuff. It's still on these streamers, still on Amazon, whatever. That's a great way because as long as these streaming services are alive, licensing is still going to be a lot. So that's a great way to. That's what I do.
Yeah,
If I was a streamer right now, that's a great strategy to have.
I told you guys there's only two of these streamers even at the 200 million threshold. The rest are not. So yeah, I would do the same thing. I mean, it's smart. I think Venom already in the box office is probably about 80 million right now, 70 or 80 million.
Oh yeah,
They're to me, can't everybody do it, but what they're doing is smart, let everybody else, fight over the viewership. And so it leads me to my last thing, which is my most frustrating thing about this whole thing. Bundling. I spoke a little bit about it before. So now everybody's stretched thin. So let's get together and me and you, let's get our libraries together and we'll offer the consumer a bundle package. For like $20, you can get three or four of them. Okay. And then give me five or six, seven or eight. And we're right back to what we left before is cable again.
we're back at cable. We've made congratulations. You've invented cable. You've invented cable, everybody. We
What
did
are we
it.
doing, fam?
You invented cable.
Didn't this is why we got away from it, but
Cut the cord. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back, and we're worse. Really,
right.
we're back, and we're a worse model of what we tried to escape.
It's so ridiculous. And the problem with bundling too is that you don't really get, if say it's Netflix and Hulu and, Paramount bundling. Well, if I'm already signed up to Netflix and Hulu and they bundle together, Paramount doesn't really get the credit for that as they to
No,
the shareholders because I was already with, like great. So it's really even some of the ones that are trying to get the help from it, they're not getting the help they think from it because some people are already with one person that they like, and they don't care about the other ones or they're not even watching. And it's like you say, it's almost worse off.
it's almost worse off. And again, if this whole thing was to salvage money, I don't know if you giving me like 12 streaming services with a new T-Mobile boost plan is gonna save you the most money. I was like, oh, I get free Spotify, Hulu, ESPN if I sign up with a deal on T-Mobile. That's okay. Who is making money in all this? If I get all this
Right.
free stuff,
Right.
who is I mean, and you said it before, if we're trying to like split subscriber bases, if that's one new subscriber for each thing, and that boosts your cachet to potential investors, sure, like go off, I guess, if that's what you want to do. But it's not it really brave for putting on a streaming service post pandemic right now. It's a really real brave move. What
I
I
don't
will say,
know.
I don't know why. What I will say is, and it's funny. We talked about you're going back to cable. We invented cable. We reinvented cable. I will say, an old strategy that flopped post 2020 that I think is going to work and possibly save, and that Netflix is already capitalizing on, is YouTube. Like popular YouTube series that have already got millions of views, not just subscribers, but views per episode. Netflix is already poaching certain creators into giving them a Netflix deal. You just do exactly what you're doing, put it on Netflix. Because in their mind, that 5 million views is 5 million new eyeballs on Netflix.
Mhm.
And then it's like, oh, that's over. What else can I watch? And then it's got, if you like this, wait till you watch this. So they're cutting like very interesting deals. So there's one animation project on YouTube. I think it's called Digital Circus. It was an indie thing. It's like CG animated. It's very popular. There were kids dressed up as these characters for Halloween this year. It was like very popular on YouTube. And Netflix approached them with a deal, a distributing deal, nothing else. So the deal is essentially you keep making your stuff on YouTube and you keep making your money. We'll just put it on Netflix and that's it. So you can, hey, I'm at an airport. I can't watch YouTube. I can watch whatever on Netflix. That's the deal. They may lose no money. They haven't sold their souls to the Netflix corporation, so to speak. So that keeps the fans happy because it's like, okay, I'm not gonna see some very strange like corporate censorship in terms of the stuff that I want, which is what every indie fan's worst nightmare is like. When A24 goes corporate, oh no, everything's got to be a cookie cutter to make money or whatever. That's the same complaint for Marvel shows, yada yada yada. So I think that's the strategy now. We're tapping into, hey, you're a big TikToker with a bunch of people. Have you tried doing long form content? And we'll pay you whatever. We can handle production or whatever. But your brand, being you, is now on our service, which gives more eyeballs on our streaming service. And you don't want to watch that with ads, do you? Of course not.
Well, and the beauty of something like that is that's why these reality shows, the Married Next Day or whatever they are called, those kind of things are so cheap to produce.
Oh, 100%.
Like Amazon had which I enjoyed. They had a series called Citadel, and Citadel, cost them like $300 million. You know,
they had the Russo brothers from
Russo
if I got the people who made
big names, big stars,
Captain America,
getting this young 15-year-old kid that's getting all these eyeballs on TikTok or YouTube. What does he need? A chair and a screen,
a camera, and a ring light.
Yeah, that's great, kid. Take it. You know, the production cost is so low. So that's a very smart move, and you're probably going to see more streamers like that on these big platforms because they have such a big loyal base, especially young people. Everybody's desperate to get young people to watch as much as they will watch. And so my last thing is, this is what it really is coming down to. Now, according to that article again, you know, the one thing that me, you, and everybody watching hates is these rising costs. And it said this article I read was, I think, in July this year. That time last year, compared to now, consumers are spending 27% more on streaming than they did the year before. And that's a big jump. And everybody's kind of like, all right, if you make me choose, I will choose. Like, don't Hulu, Netflix, you know, Amazon keep clowning now because people already kind of resent. Like I said, I don't want to start feeling like I'm paying for cable if I'm not going to get cable once I start adding up how much this costs. And that's what they have to fight. So and so they're saying, you know, the better hit, and one executive said, what really helps is just a hit show. A hit show gives more revenue to the company. They can make better shows, but when you don't have a hit, you're struggling. That's sometimes why the prices have to go up because they can't, you know, they're going down and they're not getting enough, you know, revenue and things like that. So I think that ultimately, and I'll ask you this, I think that people are like, well, how much is too much for people willing to pay? I think that I think the dreaded 2, if a person sees a 2, they're done. I really believe that. Like,
100%. Oh no.
13, 14, 15, like, all right.
99. Don't forget the 99.
99. But if I see a 2,
I don't know. People mentally will shut down.
I don't care who it is, you're out. Now, what do you agree?
Oh, I 100% agree. Once you see a 2, I'm like, do I got stock in the company now?
Right, like what?
Absolutely not. This is a premium. What do I get? After, oh no, 100% no. I think it's for a hit show. And you know what's funny about that is I just read an article and it's like something everyone's like, well, duh. These the higher the subscription base is, the higher amount of piracy there is for the same show. Hello, if I can watch this for free on a VPN, maybe legally, illegally, you wouldn't steal a car, would you? You wouldn't steal a car, would you? Well, if the car costs $20.99 a month, I don't know at this point. So, like that's real. Like the rise of piracy has gone up exponentially to compete with these rising numbers. And it's funny because people want to really support these shows legally. It's just the fact that when it gets to this, I have 5 shows I love, but 4 of them are on 4 different streaming services, $15 to $20 a piece. Sorry, $19.99 a piece. That becomes an issue, and people will start looking elsewhere to get the same content for less or free. So that's kind of the issue, and probably why people are going to start walking back these prices, or hey, get it now on the holiday bundle. You get it for a whole year for $13. You know, like they're gonna get some back. They're gonna backwalk it where they keep their ego, but they're gonna start backwalking these prices a bit because they don't want people to turn into the dark arts of pirating their media.
Right. Well, and it's so funny you say that, and we'll end here. I had somebody just recommended me a show. They were like, "Have you seen the show called From?" And I was like, "I've seen it advertised." I was like, "Where's that on?" They were like, "It's on MGM Plus. Do you have MGM Plus?" I was like,
it's the most convoluted. You gotta go to Amazon, buy a subscription from MGM Studio on Amazon to go watch it on Amazon from MGM Studio.
That's the most MGM Plus. No, I don't have what? And they're like, "It is so good," and I'm like, no. I don't know. I don't really. I can't do no. But that's where we are. So
that's where we are.
This is kind of our annual summit to talk about these things. But hopefully, guys, just reading that article was very interesting because streaming is, so everybody's streaming something. You got some kind of service. You know what I mean? And it's, everybody's trying to find their niche. But I still feel like on the horizon, big cable is cable's just like, hey, big head, you want to come back around? What's up?
You want to? We've always been here. We're always been here.
We were so quick to cut the cord and all that, but the way these prices rise, we'll see. But all right, guys, that is our show. Again, thank you to Shinobi. Of course, he's here, there, everywhere. He's probably going to be writing or animating something in a show near you soon. We hope.
Yeah, you'll see me when you see me.
That'll be great as well. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you rock with. What are your top 2 streamers that you really can't live without? Put that in the comments or something. Hit me up. I would love to see that as well. We will be back. More shows, more guests. We're looking good, guys. You know what to do. Be blessed. Stay sharp. Thank you, bro.
No problem.